I went to a funeral yesterday, and one does think about mortality in general at these times, and more particularly matters such as cremation or burial. It's interesting, but I do wonder if many people decide well before their own deaths whether they prefer to be cremated or whether they prefer to be buried. In a world of some 8 billion people and growing, there is the thought that finding a secure spot with some security of tenure to be interred in might be difficult. Not in terms of finding a final resting place as such, but finding somewhere that has more than a modicum of assurance that it won't be dug up and your remains relocated because the cemetery is in the path of a new road or a motorway or a park or the building of a reservoir or some such. And that's just a few of the possibilities. Graves are dug up all the time. Cemeteries are relocated around the world. Of course, none of us can predict what will happen in 20 years, let alone 100. So does this mean burial in a rural location or a remote location far from the urban sprawl? Is the answer. It could be. It reduces the risk, doesn't it, of disinterment. Think about things in a wider context. How many billions of people have lived and died over the millennia? In the past, most were buried on death, except perhaps in places like India and some other countries where burning the body on a funeral pyre is practiced. It's a form of cremation, I suppose. Graveyards in the UK have many burials, one atop the other. How many can you put in one grave, I wonder? Are there regulations to this effect? Can you put 3, 5, 10, 20 or more over the centuries? I'm sure that has happened. I have read stories of massive numbers of people in graves, and that cemeteries sort of are turned over every 100 years or so, with people being put in over the top. Notwithstanding all of this, some of us want to have our remains interred for a variety of reasons. For me, knowing that I still exist, albeit as a rotting corpse, in the years ahead gives me some comfort. Perhaps in 200 years, my remains might allow archaeologists an inside view into the life of a 21st century man in terms of diet, bone structure, height, weight, etc. And I'm sure with modern technology and the advancements that they will be able to tell a lot more than that, and possibly even reconstruct my face, God forbid. If you're cremated, there is effectively nothing left of you except a handful of ash. Let's be honest, many relatives scatter a deceased ashes in the wind, at sea, or in a grave, but there is no way that these ashes can be confirmed in the future as belonging to anyone in particular. Even if they were kept in one place, buried, you can't do a DNA test on ashes, I'm sure, because it's the incinerated remains of something. It does seem to be a waste that your contribution to life and humanity ceases completely because your body no longer exists. One of my fears, too, is that funeral homes cannot always be trusted. We know that. We've seen incidents in the news of people doing the wrong thing in funeral homes, mixing up bodies and goodness knows what. How can you be 100% certain that the ashes you're presented with days after your loved one's cremation are in fact the ashes of your loved one? Quite simply, you can't. It is beyond bothersome. Unless you're present at the cremation, you will never be sure. And I'm pretty sure there are rules and regulations in the funeral industry precluding people from attending at the furnace site, not just for health and safety reasons, but perhaps for other reasons as well. Privacy for others who are about to be cremated or whatever. The other uncomfortable realization is that how would you know that every speck of dust, if you can call it that, or ash of your loved ones has been collected after the cremation and also has not been mixed with the former crematee's ashes in the furnace? I mean, how probable is it that every single piece of ash has gone into the urn that you're presented with, or whether there's a mix, or whether they don't really care? I do not have enough confidence in the operators of funeral homes to be fully satisfied of that. Is whoever is employed to gather ashes after each cremation, are they going to take the time to be 100% sure that all has been collected? Or do they just want to get the job done? As that's all it is. It's a job. And no doubt the people operating the furnaces are paid an hourly rate, and it's no different to any other job at the end of the day. Too many questions for my liking. You might be comfortable with it all, but I'm not. I know that many of you will be of the view that none of this matters, as we're talking about dead bodies, carcasses, corpses, cadavers, whatever you want to call them. Our loved ones have departed, and the shell remaining is not them. It's a compelling argument in a way, because it's just a sort of an animal's corpse. Well, good for you, I say, and I respect your point of view. We must, however, respect the bodies of our deceased, as these are the bodies that they lived in and presented themselves to the world in. I'm sure most people at some point in their lives were proud of themselves. They would look in the mirror and say, what a handsome brute I am, or what a beautiful woman I am, or whatever. These were their temples, I guess you could say. Shouldn't we respect those temples after death? That's it, folks. Go well. Until next time.